Thanks for staying with us. It's Talking Solutions. I'm your host, Terry Springs. Got a couple things to talk about. Got a couple things coming up this next week we want to fill you in on. The second annual Pawn Stars Poker Run for the Epilepsy Foundation of Nevada. We'll get to that shortly. But first, let's start with Goodwill's Blue Party. Have you heard about that? Kathy Topp is here, plus clothing designer Sharon St. Laurent. Kathy, every time I think of Goodwill, I can't help but think about jobs.
Well, it's all about jobs. Goodwill helps people get jobs, helps people work no matter circumstance or disability. We do that in several ways. The first way is when you clean out your closets and you donate to Goodwill, those goods are put into our retail stores. They are sold, and the revenue that's provided by those funds helps us put on job placement programs that literally help thousands of people in this community go back to work. The other thing that happens is that when you donate goods to Goodwill and we open up new retail stores, which we've opened up quite a few recently, and we've got plans to open even more, we're actually creating jobs in this community as well. This year, we are hiring more than 100 people to fill those new retail and operations positions. Those are jobs in this community with benefits after vesting. It's the ability for someone who maybe doesn't have a great work history to get back into the workforce and either grow with Goodwill, grow with the company, or use that as a platform to go to a different career.
People change careers during their lifetime, actually. Statistics show a number of times. So starting over is very common and a very good thing to do. Do they call it career connections?
Absolutely right. Our big program is Career Connections. We actually have 2 centers here in town. One is at MLK and Cheyenne. The other is at Tropicana and Pecos, right next to our stores, that offer free career counseling, free internet access, free access to training. I mean, you were just talking about changing careers. That is something that a lot of people in this community have had to do because of circumstances. A lot of the jobs that were once very plenty here in the Valley either no longer exist or are no longer hiring at the capacity that they once were. So that training, that retraining is so vital in Las Vegas right now. And that's one of the great things that Goodwill does. If you come into one of our Career Connection centers and you get signed up for the program, which again is no cost, 100% free to the job seeker, you can see if you are eligible for some of that training. We can help put you back to school. We can help get you work cards. And we can help with some of those financial, tangible things that can be a huge barrier when you're looking for work. Because as we all know, looking for a job is a job in itself.
Oh, it's like a full-time job.
We're here for you. That's our mission. That's our goal.
A lot of people who may be needing work don't have resumes ready. They're not really prepared to go through the whole work search process.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, the resume writing process has changed so much. There are things now like SEO. And so you want to have keywords in your resume to make sure that they trigger. There are opportunities for you to rewrite your resume to help position yourself better. Let's say you have a long gap in your work history. Sometimes there are different ways to write your resume that are better than other ways so that you can kind of explain that away. We help you with all of that. And the best thing is that when you come into Goodwill, our contacts become your contacts. We all know it's who you know in this town.
It is so much that way.
Let's face it. So the relationships that we have with employers can really give you a leg up in that job search.
I'm wondering, am I uneducated if I don't know what SEO means? Could you please explain that?
Search engine optimization. And a lot of the larger employers have programs that they run resumes through. And so they're looking for specific keywords, specific phrases to trigger to see if you move to the next level. And so having someone who can kind of help you through that process, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to do that. I would need to go to one of our employment specialists to help me if I was job seeking right now, which you never know.
Goodwill would be helping you because they do that for anyone in our community.
Absolutely, no matter your circumstance or disability.
You were talking a moment ago, too. We've got Kathy Topp in studio from Goodwill. Here in a few minutes, we're going to talk about a big fundraiser, and we have a designer who's part of this big event, Sharon St. Laurent, who will be joining us shortly. Kathy, you were talking about how things, as far as employment, change. A good example is just blocks from here. Years ago, I came back to town, weren't any radio jobs available right at that point in time, and I ended up working for City Cards over here on Sahara. At that time, we employed more than 2,000 people. Since that time, situations have changed. City has now checked completely out of the market. All of those 2,000 plus people who used to work in that building on Sahara at the lakes had to find something else to do. So I would imagine a lot of them made their way through Career Connections at Goodwill to find where their new placement would be.
We hope so. That's a perfect example. Another great example, although it is coming back, we were just talking about some of the construction on Durango, are construction jobs. There are careers in this town that 10 years ago were plentiful and paid a great salary. Sometimes they aren't there quite anymore. Or sometimes you need a little bit of extra training because technology has moved forward in the past 10 years. That's what Goodwill is there for. It doesn't hurt to come in and sit down with a career counselor and employment specialist and see what some of your options are. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. You've got everything to gain and nothing to lose. That's what we're there for, is to help the community go back to work.
For people who are looking for employment, you may think you have only a few options, but if you go to Goodwill Career Connections, you may find that you've got a lot of options.
Absolutely. That's a great point, because there are some careers that you might not even know about. There are some job openings that you might not even know about. There's only so much that you can do sitting at home on your computer job searching. We believe in that face-to-face connection. We also believe that sometimes you may be interviewing for jobs, you may be getting in front of employers, and maybe you're not getting them and you don't know what you're doing wrong. Having that person to kind of say, hey, this is the message that you're putting across, or maybe you should change this in your resume. Some of those very small tweaks can make the difference between unemployment and getting a job.
Making it to that next level. And you were just discussing how Goodwill can help us as far as optimizing our resumes. I would imagine the experience I had years ago in the customer service area, those might be keywords that would make somebody go, whoa, we should talk to her about this next position.
Absolutely. But look how you even got that job. I mean, obviously being personable, loving to speak with people and being around people, those are skills that can translate into other jobs. We run into that a lot, especially with a lot of the veterans we work with. We've got a great program called Veteran Integration Program, which focuses specifically on the needs of veterans and their family members. And just what you were talking about is exactly what veterans often face. They have enormous skills, tremendous skills, but they are used to describing them in military terms. Now, when you get to an employer who is looking for civilian terms, some of those skills don't translate. And so this program, we actually have veterans on staff, which is exciting because they speak the language. It's veterans speaking to other veterans, and they're able to take those skills and put them in language that civilian employers understand. We found that here in the Valley, there was a tremendous need, and veterans, I mean, all over the country, but specifically here in Las Vegas, were having trouble moving on to a civilian job. We have a great program, like I said, that is producing enormous results, not just for veterans, but their family members too, because family members move around with their family member who is in the military. So again, you're looking at some of those same challenges, which is gaps in work history, moving around, short-term employment, things that are normally red flags for employers when they're looking for employees.
But not when it comes to military. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I definitely wanted to shine a light on the VIP, because VIP with Goodwill means something other than what you're thinking.
We believe our veterans are VIPs. So VIP, again, is Veteran V, Integration I, Program P. And this program started late 2012, thanks to a grant from Nevada Women's Philanthropy, a fabulous group here in Las Vegas. We recently got additional funding from Bank of America to carry this program on. It is amazing when you speak to some of these veterans. One of them, her name is Christina. She had a really tough time when she left the military. She did tours in the Middle East, and she struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder. She was down on her luck. She didn't know what to do. She got hooked up with Goodwill, one of our veteran employment specialists, who not only acted as a job coach, but also acted as a counselor, just to say, hey, listen, I know what you are going through. This is what you need to do to put yourself in a position where you can succeed, because I believe in you and you can succeed. She ended up getting some training for computer programming, I believe it was, got a job. She is now active in the community. She has been a great spokesperson for us, talking about what Goodwill has done for her, helped turn her life around, because a job is more than a job. It is a paycheck. It helps you put food on the table, keep a roof over your head, but a job is self-esteem. It is self-worth. All those intangible things that are so very important when it comes to turning your life around, getting your life back on track. Again, a paycheck, we all know it's necessary.
Sure.
But it's more than that. That's what we believe. It's the power of work.
It's got to help with your VIP program for veterans, that you have veterans also on staff to help guide them through the process and get them reintegrated into society, into a performing job. Jobs aren't just jobs. Jobs are your identity in so many situations, because every party you go to, you meet somebody. What's the first thing they say? What do you do? Exactly.
You are 100% right on. And that's what we do at Goodwill. We want people to have self-esteem. We want people to have a paycheck. We want people to contribute to this economy. And it's amazing that you can do that, and you can fund that by just donating your gently used goods.
That's what's nice to know. Your clothing, your household items, pieces of furniture. Clear out that stuff. You got too much stuff in your house anyway. Think about giving it to Goodwill because of all the good you turn it into.
Absolutely right. And, we try to make it really convenient. And another good thing to point out is that when you do donate your goods to Goodwill, we've got more than 40 donation centers across the valley. Actually, we just opened up some in the parking lots of Bank of America locations, which is awesome. But we actually have a person there to collect those goods from you. We know how valuable they are. Trust us, because they fund our programming. And we also want to make sure that the spots that we are, it's kept clean and it's kept nice. And the other thing is customer service. We want to make sure that you get that tax deductible receipt. But the biggest reason why we do that is because it's a job. There is someone there that we are paying that is getting back into the workforce, perhaps, that is establishing a work history. It's a job, and that's very powerful.
Do you have any idea how many total people end up getting placed into job situations with help from Goodwill?
Absolutely. Last year, more than 2,300 people here in this community got placed into jobs at a variety of businesses. That's pretty powerful when you think about it, because it doesn't just impact those people, but it impacts all those people around them as well.
Great idea for employers, businesses that have openings, part-time, full-time, temporary, till the end of time. Let Goodwill know so that they can also offer these people who've been well-equipped to be great new employees.
And we help employers at no cost as well. And so if you are a small business, perhaps, who, HR is important, it's also very expensive, we can step in and help you with that. Or we can do some programs like on-the-job training, which is where maybe you hire someone who you are training to learn your specific position. We will help cover part of their salary while they are in training to make sure that it's a good fit, and to make sure that we can help the employer grow and we can help the employee get a viable job. We also are starting something that's called Goodwill.jobs. It's actually a website just for Goodwill that runs, it's almost like a monster.com, but it's nonprofit based. That doesn't mean that any other business can't put a job on it, but it's actually a search engine run by Goodwill. And so that's launching, and we're very excited about that as well.
Is it up yet?
It is up right now, so you can kind of fool around on it a little bit and take a peek. It's Goodwill.jobs again.
Goodwill.jobs. Kathy Topp is with us today. We're talking about Goodwill. We have exciting news. You said that we currently have 40 different donation locations for when we're giving something to Goodwill.
Yeah.
Tell me about the stores, because I do love to shop in the stores.
Well, we have been in a major growth mode, which is phenomenal. We just in August opened up our first store in Centennial Hills. It's beautiful if you've ever gone up there. That store itself helped create 40 jobs. But mid-October, we are going to open our flagship store in the Boulevard Mall. That store has gotten a lot of buzz, and rightfully so. It's going to be our very first store in a traditional mall setting. The folks over at Boulevard Mall have been phenomenal to work with. The store is going to be significantly larger than the ones that you've seen, and we're going to be debuting some new looks and some new things, so we're really looking forward to that one opening. And we have another one that will be opening in the next few months up in North Las Vegas. We're excited about that one too, Civic Center in Lake Mead. We've got a couple other announcements that will be coming up, but the reason why we're so excited about it is because it provides additional revenue for the programs, and it creates jobs. Like I mentioned earlier, we have hired about 100 people. Goodwill is growing, which is extremely exciting, and we couldn't do that without the support of the community. So we are very, very grateful to everyone listening who helps contribute.
The whole retooling of the Boulevard Mall in itself is exciting, but Goodwill is going to have a huge, like an anchor type store.
It is. It's actually in the space where the old Dillard's is.
That's the perfect spot. I know exactly where to to go.
That mall is the perfect example of what Goodwill is all about. Redevelopment, giving a second chance. And that's what we do, not just with our clothing and our things that you can purchase in a Goodwill store, but also the very core, the very mission of what we do. We help give people second chances. And so we are so excited to be opening up in Boulevard Mall. We're excited about our store in Centennial Hills, the one in North Las Vegas. And like I said, we'll have a couple more announcements coming up. So it's going to be another exciting 12 months. We're helping people, and that's the best part.
It's Goodwill. And yeah, I do like to shop at the stores. I got a bunch of Tommy Bahama stuff there a while back, and I love it.
It's awesome. Good finds.
I think that's a good segue for us to also talk about what's coming up. I know that we were saying, Kathy Topp with Goodwill, that our donations fund all of these great programs, help people with job training and placement and all kinds of good things. That is funded by us donating our goods.
Exactly.
But you've got other ways of also making money, and I want to hear about this whole Blue Party because I've heard a little bit about this, and it's coming up October 2nd, and that's why we have Sharon St. Laurent in-house.
Yes.
This is my simple explanation of this. The clothing items that are already in the Goodwill stores, the stuff I love to go in and look at and buy, is exactly what Sharon got a hold of, and it's got to do with the Blue Party. What is the Blue Party, Kat?
The Blue Party is a night of original runway fashion, live music, live art, all under the stars at the World Market Center in downtown Las Vegas. It's Friday, October 2nd. Tickets are priced for the average person. You don't have to be a huge funder to come and enjoy the night. They start at $35, and it's our major fundraiser of the year. So we've been telling everyone to get your blue on. We've got 7 designers. Sharon is one of them, who we gave some Goodwill gift cards to, and she went shopping at the Goodwill stores to find the raw materials to create a totally original collection with 6 looks, right? 6 looks? They will be debuting at this runway fashion show at World Market Center. We are so excited.
Sharon, first of all, tell me, how did you get into designing? Because obviously that's your passion.
It's been a thrill for me to have this opportunity, first of all, to be a part of the Goodwill Blue Party and to be able to express my creativity in designing and redesigning and repurposing different items from the stores. It's been like a fun shopping spree.
But you've really made beautiful, beautiful clothing out of Goodwill finds.
Oh, it's been exciting to go in and pick up wedding dresses and and be able to redesign them and put a little extra glitz and glamour and sparkle and dazzle to the items. I'm having a lot of fun being creative, and I just love it. It's been great to work with the people too. They've been so sweet and helpful.
It's like Project Runway.
Oh, but
like,
it's the local version.
Right. It's like Project Runway goes Goodwill.
Yeah.
And so we actually had a launch party that Sharon was at our Deja Blue Boutique in Summerlin, which is our high-end boutique, where we got a sneak peek of some of the fashions. And I got an opportunity to get to know Sharon a little bit more. And Sharon herself has a great story of retraining, basically.
Yeah.
Which is what Goodwill's about.
Yes. I've recently returned to school with an amazing opportunity to challenge my skills while most of my friends are retiring at my age. I was in that kind of position you were talking about earlier where I couldn't get work. And I had years of training and wonderful jobs and skills. There just wasn't anything. And I hit rock bottom. I felt like I was going to have to go out on the streets with a sign. It was that bad. So I just got this opportunity to go back to school and retrain. It was for the Art Institute. I was able to take all kinds of current training and teaching classes so that new doors would open up for me for designing and fashion. And I never expected that. It's kind of like going back to the whole circle of life in your 60s. I just started when I created and sewed Barbie doll clothes in my early childhood. And in the 60s, all the girls wanted a Barbie doll. I mean, that was a really big deal back then. And my parents could only afford the doll. And they told me that in order to give me the doll, I had to agree to making its clothes. That's where I got my fashion design start. And my mom actually taught me how to do some little things. And later on, I was able to take some advanced classes, learn to tailor and make family clothes. And then I went on to working for the Bon Marché and Nordstrom's in retail. I loved it. Now I feel like I've kind of gone back the whole circle and I've been sewing and designing again. I've worked at the shows here in Las Vegas. Oh my gosh, I was so excited. I had an an opportunity to design and create Vegas the show and different costumes on different stages here in Las Vegas for the last 6 years. And my honey's an entertainer, and so he's the one that connected me into wardrobe for Saks Productions. My honey, he works on stage there, and he happened to run into the head of wardrobe. So it was exciting to get my foot in the door. And then I started working with these high-end designers that made Elvis and Celine Dion and Bette Midler, all these famous people's costumes. Oh my gosh, I'm just a little grain of sand. You know, I hardly know nothing compared to them. And so I wanted to learn more about how to refine my skills. So I went back to school and started learning how to design and create and make patterns and do all kinds of interesting things, and actually got hired as an assistant in the sewing department and just fell in love with the staff and the students. It was so fun learning the current trends and how these children, I call them children, but you know, they're young adults.
They're all children to me too. I hear you.
I just love their ideas. This has just been really fun to explore and bring out that creativity for Goodwill.
And when it's a passion, it does not feel like a job.
Oh, amen.
Sharon St. Laurent, who is designing clothes for the Blue Party coming up. That is a big fundraiser for Goodwill. Also, Kathy Topp in-house. Kathy, Sharon's story, I think, really syncs up with a lot of people that I know. As technology changes things, jobs come, jobs go. And I know a whole slate of people who are in their 50s or early 60s who have had an entire career who suddenly are not quite ready to do the retirement thing, still have energy, passion, the desire to do something, but all of a sudden they're out on their butt. And they're going, what do I do now? And they come to Goodwill to find the place where they should be. And I know, Sharon, you found the place where you need to be as a designer.
You're absolutely right. And that's what this Blue Party, this night, is all about. It's to raise money. It's to raise awareness. We have fashion designers like Sharon. Actually, our youngest one is 19 years old, who have a host of different experiences and life experiences. This runway show is a major runway show. I mean, I'm telling you, this is our second year. The first year, the last Blue Party, even I, involved in Goodwill, I was just stunned. This is a big time production. We are going to have, in addition to the fashions, live music from Frankie Shinta, David Perico, Pop Strings Orchestra. We've got live painters. It's a major party to celebrate the arts, to celebrate fashion, and to celebrate what Goodwill does in this community.
I know, Sharon, you're doing some of the designing for the Blue Party. Did I hear 6 outfits?
Yes.
Were you given different categories, or they just gave you Goodwill gift cards and said, go, make it happen, girl?
They actually asked us to do 6 different designs. And if you don't mind me introducing my design line, this is pretty exciting for me. I'm creating and designing a new fashion line for Goodwill. My inspiration is the love of my life, my dearest daddy, who's deceased, who always had unconditional love for me. Of all the people in my life that have always been cheering for me, no matter what, it was my daddy. I'm dedicating this entire line of fashions to him. He was a World War II veteran, and I had the opportunity at school to learn the history of fashion. I never knew that the revolutionary fashion breakthroughs, some of the greatest designers, both in Paris and the United States, were during the 1940s and World War II. That was when fabric was limited. Everything changed then because they were using fabrics for the war. So the dresses hiked up.
Less fabric.
Less fabric, there you go. The only ones that were actually allowed to use a lot of fabric, and I didn't know this before school, was wedding dresses and funerals. Those were the only 2. So my design line has a wedding dress in it, and it has extremes, kind of like I've been my whole life, kind of an extremist. And so it depicts me really well. I chose to start my fashion line in memory of the Forerunners, and so my color palette is the patriotic color palette of red, white, and blue. This is my way of giving back to all those who have and still are fighting in our military services to help protect our wonderful nation under God.
You made your dad proud with this. You know that, don't you? And I know also that veterans are very important to Goodwill. It's a perfect pairing, and I can't wait to see your 6 designs. I'm seeing them in your portfolio. This is going to be a great feather in your cap to be able to be one of the designers, and I see that we've got 7 different designers.
And then we also have a very special collection by Aldo Mancato with some celebrity fashion models who will be walking the runway after our designers show their collections. So it's going to be exciting, original, couture fashion, and great times.
And a big fundraiser for Goodwill.
Absolutely. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year.
And tickets are reasonable, starting at $35.
$35.
And it's at World Market Center. I love that place.
And that $35, you do have to be 21 or older, because that $35 does include 1 free drink ticket. It's a good deal.
That's a great deal. It's the Blue Party. It's happening on Friday, October 2nd at World Market Center for Goodwill. You're going to see some amazing design work. Sharon, the thing that is just the best about this, you got your, as I should say, raw materials for your designs directly out of Goodwill stores.
Yes, it's been a great opportunity. I've had so much fun looking through their different designer clothing as well as casual clothing. It's been fun to put everything together and take it apart. And
you know, this is something that the average, I do not have the talent or the vision that Sharon has, but this is something that the average person can do too. I mean, it's all about using your imagination and repurposing. That shirt doesn't have to be just that shirt that you buy from Goodwill. It's $4.99, great deal, but maybe you can make it into a jacket, into a skirt, into something else. It's all about using your imagination, and these designers are going to astound you. It's going to be the best fashion show of the year here in Vegas.
Ideas, inspiration galore. It sounds like a really good time and a great cause, of course. Goodwill and jobs.
I did do a quick little video showing people how simple it is to redesign something and make it their own creation by just taking off buttons and adding your favorite buttons that are decorative, adding a little bit of trim, doing real simple things. It doesn't have to be complicated like I make everything.
But you've got the abilities. We don't.
And 5 sewing machines.
Is the video available to be viewed anywhere?
I think they put everything on YouTube from there. And Blue Party, I think I've sent some of it to them.
We have a website for the Blue Party, which is goodwillblueparty.vegas. It has all of our designer bios and links. We actually have video of them shopping, so you'll be able to see those raw materials. And we've got information about our live music performances, our live artists, our silent auction, everything that you want to know about the Blue Party. And of course, it is the Blue Party, so if you do come, we are asking you to wear blue.
One of my favorite
Makes
colors.
sense.
Yes.
Goodwillblueparty.vegas.
Correct.
That's the website. I'll also put all the links on our Talking Solutions Facebook page, along with a podcast of this interview today.
That's so great. We hope everyone comes and supports our designers, supports Goodwill, and more importantly, supports the community and people in this community who really do need just a hand up. And that's what we do.
It's Goodwill, helping with jobs, helping our veterans, helping in this case with the Blue Party, budding designers like Sharon.
My story is a different rags to riches because I take someone else's rags and make them into riches. I've been able to live out my dreams by being able to donate my time, my heart, and soul into this beautiful project to give back to our community with Goodwill.
The Blue Party is coming up Friday, October 2nd, happening at the World Market Center. If you want more information, check out the website, goodwillblueparty.vegas. Thanks for coming in to join us today on Talking Solutions, Sharon and Kathy, and have a great event. Before we run out of time on this week's show, I want to let you know what we're going to talk about next week. Epilepsy. Do you realize 1 out of every 26 people deals with epilepsy? Coming up a week from today, next Sunday, October 4th, it's the 2nd annual Pawn Stars Poker Run hosted by Rick Harrison, the guy we all know and love from Pawn Stars. On Talking Solutions next week, we're going to talk to the Epilepsy Foundation of Nevada and their executive director, Danielle Morano. We'll have Sasha Pina in too. In fact, Danielle's here right now. Can you fill us in on the run?
Yep, registration's from 8:30 to 9:30, and then we're going to kick off at 10 o'clock at the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop. The bikers will ride out to the Pioneer Saloon, Distill, the Palms Hotel, and they'll wind up back at Pawn Plaza, which is the new shopping center that Rick is building right next to the pawn shop.
They bought that extra land right next to them. They're turning it into a whole thing. They got so many tourists and people down there checking it out. What a great opportunity. So it's going to be right around there. Start at the pawn shop, right around. I was just explaining this to my mom on the phone today before I was coming in. They ride from location to location. Each time you stop, you get a playing card. And then when you finish, you have a poker hand. Best one wins, what, $2,000?
Yeah, best hand wins $2,000, and we have something for worst hand. That's probably what I would get. And that's $1,000.
That's not so bad either way. Well, it sounds like it's going to be a good time. Sunday, October 4th, the Pawn Stars' second annual poker run for the Epilepsy Foundation of Nevada. And information at your website?
Yep, epilepsy.com/Nevada.
Talking Solutions is a production of the Community Relations Department here at Beasley Media Group Las Vegas. Get more information on today's topic on our Talking Solutions page on Facebook, where you will also find links and a podcast of today's show. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.